This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for June 30th, 7:30 p.m. Tropical Storm Arlene made landfall just south of Tampico, Mexico early this morning. Here's the satellite picture at landfall, and you can see the system looks pretty symmetrical here. It was really getting organized as it came on shore, but it did not quite reach hurricane status. It came ashore with 65-mile-per-hour winds and buffeted the area of Tampico and surrounding areas all throughout the day today. Now, yesterday's update video, I talked about the HWRF tropical model, and here's what it showed yesterday. Basically, landfall of the system right about where it made landfall. I mean, it was dead on, right where it came ashore here, maybe just a tad south of where it actually came ashore, but the HWRF really nailed this. And the GFDL, on the other hand, which is the competing tropical model, actually the HWRF is not forecast, but it's scheduled to be replace the GFDL model. So we're really keeping a close eye on the HWRF model to see the accuracy compared to the GFDL model. The GFDL model kind of washed the system out as it came ashore, but the HWRF, as you can see on this shot, really nailed the forecast of this, coming right in just south of Tampico as a 65-mile-an-hour tropical storm. So the HWRF did a real good job on this system. Now here's where the system is right now, and the system is well to the southwest of Tampico, Mexico, heading generally off to the west-southwest, as the models did predict would happen. As it hit the mountain range, the system will weaken rapidly. By this evening, later on this evening, it should be a tropical depression, and then the system should wash out, but not before it dumps heavy amounts of rain over Mexico, inland areas and the mountain regions. Here's a photograph from Veracruz, and they've had some mudslides in the area from Tropical Storm Arlene, and noticed a lot of the hilly terrain around these highways. You have roads that are collapsing. In fact, there's been reports from the local news. Now you can access the local news from Tampico by clicking on Tampico next to the tracking chart on the front page of Hurricane City, and then choosing the news links. There's two newspapers, and then you can translate the text into English language to translate what's happening down in the affected areas. And there's also some photographs on these as well. But they've also reported that about 107,000 people have been reported without power between Tampico and Veracruz, and most of that has been restored. The power crews are out there restoring power pretty quickly. About 65% has been restored as of this hour, and but there has been some mudslides, and there are some people missing, so it's just still an unfolding story, and we'll pass more information along over the next few days. Here's another shot of the rain down in Tampico. Again, flooded roads, mudslides, what you would expect from a tropical storm making landfall in the country of Mexico. All right, here is the HurTrack program showing the closest point of approach to Tampico, and this happened at 11 a.m. this morning, 42 nautical miles south of Tampico, so that reaches my criteria for within 60 miles of Tampico being affected. Now, Tampico was one of my top 20 cities to be affected this year by a named storm, so we can mark Tampico off the list as being affected by Tropical Storm Arlene. And this will not even be a brush. It'll be a direct hit on Tampico, even though the core came in just south. It was a large wind field, and it covered all of Tampico, so this will be considered as a hit by a tropical storm in the Hurricane City database, and Tampico will be marked off the list as one of my top 20. We have a long way to go yet. We'll see what happens. All right, here's the current wind shear analysis in the Atlantic Basin, and things are not really favorable right now. This is pretty typical. Once you have a system move inland like this, the outflow can oftentimes cause wind shear behind it, and that's what we're seeing in the Bay of Campeche. Very high wind shear out of the northwest behind Tropical Storm Arlene. In fact, there's a trough cutting all the way through the Caribbean out into the Atlantic that has high levels of wind shear in the upper levels of the atmosphere, which shears the top of thunderstorms off as they try to build up into the atmosphere and prevent storms from developing. So right now it's unfavorable in the Atlantic and the Caribbean, so none of the models really predict anything over the next several days. We should have a safe holiday weekend coming up for July 4th without any named storms to worry about. Of course, that could change. We'll keep an eye on it. But right now, things look like they're going to be quiet out there in the Atlantic. So that's basically it for This update, here is the animation of the satellite satellite animation of the Caribbean and the Atlantic, and we have a big upper level low over the central Caribbean Sea spinning right here, and that is unfavorable. That's causing the westerly wind shear in the Caribbean. That will not allow any tropical storms to develop for the next several days. That's it for now. We'll be back with another update in a few days from now after the holidays, and we'll see what's happening in the tropics. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane City.